Veris Research presents the New Mexico Frontiers Digital Show.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this episode of New Mexico Frontiers, the digital series. And today we are headed south to southern parts of New Mexico, parts of Texas, and parts of Mexico, talking with an organization that really has been fundamental in helping bring a lot of big business to the region. And they are extending their footprint a little far northern than Las Cruces up to Spaceport America, which we'll unpack here in a little bit. But before we do that, I want to welcome John, who is the president of the Borderplex Alliance. And John, are we talking to you in Las Cruces, El Paso? Where are you situated today?
Well, Chad, I'm in my home office here in El Paso. We do have offices in Las Cruces and Ciudad Juarez, but right outside my door, half a mile away, is Mexico.
There you go. Let's first start off talking a little bit about the Borderplex Alliance. I've been doing a little bit of reading about the company and what you do, and I think it's really important because bringing businesses, obviously, to New Mexico, but to the region as well, I think is really important. And you've got some big names that you have worked with, including Amazon, among others. So tell us a little bit about your mission, and how you got started.
Well, the Borderplex Alliance is a very unique organization in that we are, to my knowledge, the only privately funded organization that represents 3 states, 2 countries, our region of 2.7 million people. And we define the Borderplex region as Ciudad Juarez, El Paso County, my home county of Doña Ana. I grew up in Las Cruces, so it's great to be back home. And indeed, we've been very successful in the last decade or so. We've been in existence. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
That's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about how you work and what you do to help facilitate economic growth in the region.
Yeah, we do actually have 2 main missions. Number one, of course, is to recruit economic-based jobs to our region, well-paying jobs. And we define economic-based jobs as if you manufacture something or you export 50% or more of your services. We want you to come here to our region. And the second half of our mission is that we are a policy advocacy group for our region. We get involved in pan-regional issues in Washington, Mexico City, Austin, primarily dealing with trade and migration, the issues that, again, affect all of our jurisdictions here in the region.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you have been able to do within those 10 years. Like I said, reading some of the companies that you've worked with, what would you say are some of the highlights of these past 10 years?
Well, first, we have been able to recruit over 25,000 economic-based jobs, great-paying jobs here to the region. We are, in fact, a region that's on fire. Currently, as we speak, we have between 12 and 13 million square feet of new construction that is ongoing. We probably, in the short term, have another 2 to 3 million square feet that we are about ready to launch. And when I started this job 7 short years ago, we were the 8th largest manufacturing hub in North America, our region was. Today, we are number 5 in North America with over 330,000 manufacturing jobs right here in the Borderplex. I believe, as we're compiling the 2023 statistics, that we will surpass the New York tri-state area as the 4th largest manufacturing hub. I can't promise that. We're doing that research now, but it looks very promising. We were only 10,000 jobs shy of them in the manufacturing sector, so I believe that will continue, and we will be number 4. The last thing I'll say about our future is I'm often asked about what the next 12 to 18 months holds for our region. I think it's very bright. This reshoring, nearshoring phenomenon is in fact real. And we are seeing a good 35 to 40% of the projects. And by the way, we as an organization are at a record level of vetted projects, primarily in manufacturing, that are looking at our region. Companies primarily from Asia that are looking at our region to invest. And we're starting to see some European companies as well look at our region. And we're very excited about the future in the next 12 to 18 months.
What do you think it is about that region? I mean, obviously, we're doing something right. If it is growing that substantially, what is it about that region that is so good for manufacturing? If someone says, why should I come to that area? What's your answer to that question?
Well, we have a very compelling story to tell. First of all, our geographic location and the proximity to markets in North America. We're right in the middle of the USMCA countries, the US Mexico Canada Agreement countries, the old NAFTA, north and south and east and west. And that helps us a great deal. Secondly, we have among the youngest demographic profile of any city in North America. Our average age in this region is 27. And that's a fantastic statistic where we can tell companies that you have a trained or trainable workforce. Speaking of that, we have over 120,000 students in post-secondary institutions of higher learning in our region. And there's UTEP, there's New Mexico State, and of course the universities in Ciudad Juarez, who on average are producing more STEM graduates than any other part in Mexico or along our border or in many parts of the US. So then, of course, we have a fantastic weather for aviation and aerospace and in other types of industries that are weather specific, weather sensitive. And we have a great story to tell amongst others. But the bottom line is that we can also make a compelling case when it comes to the cost of doing business here. Low housing costs, our wage rates, while growing and growing at a nice pace, are still less than they are in places around the world and in other places in the US. So people have discovered us, and there's a critical mass of momentum, and we're going to ride that wave as long as we can.
That is great to hear. Yeah, and just thinking too, with UTEP and NMSU being down there, I imagine that you've got this not revolving door, but just this constant flow of undergraduates coming out, graduates coming out looking for work, and there you are right at their front door, which is fantastic. Let's shift gears a little bit, John, if we can, and get into this memo of understanding that you just recently signed with Spaceport America. First of all, why Spaceport America?
Well, Chad, that's a great question. Spaceport America falls technically just outside our region, Sierra County, but it's certainly close enough to resurrect what I call the old Camino Real trading route. We're very lucky to live in the region that we are, from Santa Fe all the way down to Chihuahua and further south. But for this purposes, this is an opportunity to resurrect the old Camino Real trading route in this specific sector: manufacturing and testing and development, research and development, all of those elements that go into a robust aviation and manufacturing ecosystem, as it were, in aviation and defense exists all the way from Albuquerque to Chihuahua City. And this is perhaps one step in trying to bring it all together, because the competition in the aviation and aerospace sector is fierce. You have the Florida Space Coast, you have the Huntsville, Alabama region that considers itself Rocket City, America, of course, Houston, then you have Southern California. It's our turn to take advantage of this potential opportunity. Spaceport America fits beautifully into that larger scheme in trying to make sure that people know the assets that we have in this region are peerless, and in fact better than in other parts of the country. So this is overdue, and it's an opportunity for us to link arms together and to create more jobs, open opportunity for the Rio Grande corridor.
So to that end, obviously, I know, the ink is still drying on this agreement. So, there's probably still a lot of moving parts on this. But can you give us a little bit of a sneak preview of some of the ventures that you're hoping to embark upon with Spaceport America in this agreement?
Yeah, there are a number of points in the memorandum understanding that we signed with Spaceport America that will enable us as an organization to market the spaceport. We travel quite frequently around the world, and also in the US. And it's an opportunity for us to talk about and brag about the assets that Spaceport America has. And so we intend to engage in a few trade shows, engage in some meetings with site selectors and consultants, which we do anyway. And we're happy to include the Spaceport America as part of our portfolio of assets that I think will be very, very compelling to, and it's a great story to tell to these individuals that are in the aviation and aerospace sector.
Yeah, I think that that's important too, especially as we are seeing more and more privatization of space agencies and space entities. Obviously, Virgin Galactic and Spaceport America, long relationship, SpaceX, other organizations, as well as NASA, still working on the Artemis program and working to try and get astronauts back on the moon, back on Mars. So it really does feel like we are in the midst of gearing up on the next generation of space exploration. And it seems that it seems like a good time to really start ramping this up.
Chad, that's a very, very perceptive comment, and that's exactly our target. Of course, the aviation and aerospace industry has a large defense component, and we will not ignore that, certainly. But very often, defense contracts are politically driven and they go to members of Congress who happen to be fairly powerful, and we know how that works. But that being said, there's also the other half of the aviation and aerospace industry, as you correctly mentioned, and that's the private opportunities that are growing exponentially. And with the assets that Spaceport America has, their unlimited ability to launch vertically, just about, it's protected airspace, it's wide open airspace and ground space. It's a very unique asset. We all know about the Virgin Galactic presence there, but to me, while that's incredibly important, equally important are the vertical launch capabilities that Spaceport America has for the industries that you just so rightly mentioned in the private sector, and we hope to utilize that asset as we go out and market the facility.
Yeah, and it seems too with a lot of the research, and we do see it with some of the designs, especially in SpaceX. I know designers are working to increase the ability for reusable rockets that can go,
Right.
they deliver the payload into orbit, they come back down. So I can absolutely see where having that and marketing it, because we see the videos all the time of the Virgin Galactic planes taking off like a regular airplane. But it's important to keep that in mind of the vertical liftoff, simply because that's going to be, as you said, a huge component, I think, moving forward in what we could see as the next generation of space exploration. So you kind of mentioned a little bit about the 12 to 18 months and where we hope to see the Borderplex Alliance. Let's look a little bit beyond that, maybe 5, 10 years. If you have it your way, all your dreams come true, John, with this agreement. What do you see in 5 to 10 years?
Love to see a unified region here in the Rio Grande corridor. The Albuquerque metro area, having lived there for 30 years myself, I know of the peerless R&D facilities that exist there, the Air Force Research Lab, Sandia, of course, and Los Alamos, not too far away. You move south, the testing and evaluation resources that southern New Mexico has with the NASA test site, with White Sands Missile Range, with Spaceport America, and the manufacturing prowess that our region has and the city of Chihuahua has. You combine all of those assets, and all of a sudden, we become a very potentially powerful region to attract thousands of new jobs in the aviation and aerospace industry. It's best that we all work together as one large region, and that might mean elongating the Borderplex region definition for purposes of aviation and aerospace. But we here in our region recognize the unique assets that the Albuquerque metro area has, and even the city of Chihuahua. The city of Chihuahua right now is a leader in the manufacturing in the aviation and aerospace industry, helicopters, planes, et cetera. It's a powerhouse. So we combine these assets. There's no reason we can't have thousands of great paying jobs stretching from Chihuahua City all the way north to the Albuquerque metro area. We're all in this together. We all have a shared culture. We all have a shared vision. We just need to try to bring it together.
That's a great point, and it really does kind of get back to, as you said, resurrecting that El Camino Real and the trade route. That, I mean, really, it's in the DNA of our region, right? Like that's
Exactly right.
that's where we live in this Texas, New Mexico, Mexico relationship. It's nothing new to this region. So I love the fact that you kind of bring that up. We dust it off and we get it ready for the next chapter. John, I do first also have to say your website is phenomenal. Playing around on it, your team has done a phenomenal job. If people want to learn more about you and they want to visit your website, where can we find you guys online? And are you also on social media?
Yeah, borderplexalliance.org is our website. And I thank you, Chad, for pointing that out. If I might, a shameless plug for our organization. Just a few short years ago, 2.5 short years ago, we were named the International Economic Development Organization of the Year by 5,500 of our worldwide colleagues. So that was a great, wonderful victory for us, and we're very proud of that. I'm proud of the staff that we have here. It's just phenomenal. And the services we're providing, by the way, to the taxpayers of New Mexico are free of charge. Part of our MOU is to do this without charge to the taxpayers of New Mexico. And I urge all of the viewers to visit our website and see what we do. And again, we do it in an efficient manner. As I said, we rarely take government money. This is all done by local contributors here and investors in our region. And we're starting to get some from Albuquerque into our organization as investors. We have about a half a dozen or 10 or so. And so we're thrilled with the opportunity to work on behalf of the people of New Mexico and not just Sierra County or Doña County. And we'll stand by the folks there in Land of Enchantment, my own state.
There you go. We're seeing that Borderplex region, the border of that Borderplex potentially growing, and it is welcome news if it's bringing more job opportunities and again helping taxpayers without charging them. Always good news to hear. John, thank you so much for your time this morning and appreciate the work and endeavors that your organization is doing.
Chad, it was my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And folks at home, again, if you want more information on this, of course, krqe.com. We will have links there a little bit later on. Until then, I'm Chad Brummett. We'll see you next time on New Mexico Frontiers, the digital series.
Please subscribe to our channel and like this video.